Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. So exciting. This person that I have right before me, OMG, her name is Patty Godoy. Oh my goodness. And she's got a fabulous life story. How she came to be Patty Godoy is incredible. I want you to all know about her, where she came from. Is she from LA or where is she from? And how she moved up the chain of command to get to where she is right now. So, as you all know, you already heard a little bio on her, and I just want to get right to it. So, welcome, Patty. How are you?
Jackie, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to be here, and I love the title of the podcast, Amiga Handle Your Shit. I love it. It's so nicely put together because I'm saying it, but it doesn't sound like I'm saying any bad words.
I know, right?
I love the flow. Oh my God, I love it.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here to share my story. So I'll get started.
Yes, please
So
do.
first of all, I am the last of 7 children. I was born in El Salvador. I was the menopausal child. My mom thought she was going through menopause, so here I am 9 months later, right? And so,
Oh my
yeah,
God, when you say that, I'm like, shit, I better worry about me because I'm in menopause.
right? You should never let your guard down because you never know. I'm telling you, I'm a good. I speak for that because I'm here. So we lived in El Salvador, very good life. My mom and my dad actually had a meat packing business, and I mean, they were doing good. They had coffee fields. I mean, we were very well off. When I tell people that I even had maids to brush my hairs, that's how I know my parents were doing well. But at the age of 10, the war in El Salvador started, the Civil War.
Mhm.
And between my age of 10 and 11 and a half, I went through a period of really, my world was turned upside down. First, it began with gunshots everywhere, hearing all this stuff. Here I am as a 10-year-old walking to school, and every morning it was dead bodies on the street. And it was one of those things when I think about it now, it's like, how did I deal with that as a 10-year-old? It's like, my God, it got to the point that it was normal. My brother and I would look at each other every morning and say, well, let's see how many bodies we can count. Literally,
Oh
we
my
would walk
God.
over dead bodies.
Oh my God.
So one day, I think my parents got, just ready to leave, and overnight we had to pack. And I remember vividly that night because my parents just said, pack a backpack. That's all we were taking. And we left overnight, went through Mexico, lived there for a few months. My mom had already lived in the US 7 years before, so she knew that the US was the land of opportunity. So she knew she had experienced that. So she had a mindset, and her being an entrepreneur and businesswoman, she knew that, she needed to get to where she was going to have, the money was going to be available for her family. So we set to leave it. And again, here I am, 11 and a half, almost 12. And my mom said, my parents are like, okay, so we're gonna be crossing the border. And I'm like, what does that mean? So we were, we're just gonna leave at night. And again, went through the mountains. I remember 3 times we tried. The second time we got caught. I was in jail in Mexico. I don't remember that though. I think I subconsciously put it away somewhere. When my parents talk about it is when I realized, oh my God, that's true. And they said we were there for a few, days. Anyway, so here I am, and 12. Finally, we crossed the border, crawling and all that, darkness galore. I cannot tell you how traumatizing that was. And so here I come, and I remember after crossing the border, we had to go into a car and be packed like sardines to be brought from San Diego to LA. Yeah. And I remember crying, and my parents told me, be quiet, be quiet. I think the whole 2 hours I cried. So here I get to LA, and I remember the first thing when they opened that truck, by the way, a priest was driving and had hay on top of the truck. I don't know how that didn't flash or create a warning sign. I'm like,
yeah.
driving a truck with hay. I don't understand. But anyways, here I get to Los Angeles and I am so, it's like a fresh, the colors were different. Everything is so beautiful. And so from the ages of 12 and 18, I live undocumented, illegal here in the United States. And for a while, it was kind of normal that we didn't really go places. We went from home to school. I went from home to school, church. That's all the places I went.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents telling us all the time, we have to practice Mexican, how to speak Mexican.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
why? Oh, because if they take us, they deport us, they're not going to deport us to Mexico because we can say we're Mexicans. So in our household, we would practice Mexican. I'm like, well, how do you say this?
Yeah.
But I was always like thinking, oh my God, why do we have to do that? So during that time, I felt like I had a culturally disconnection from my own culture, being Salvadorian, and here in the US, trying to get acclimated to this culture. And then my parents telling me, no, that you have to now sound Mexican and act Mexican and be Mexican. So if they catch us, because we're gonna go only to Mexico. And by the way, they did. My dad was caught in one of those raids, and he had to go. He went to Mexico, and it helped that he practices Mexican. So he goes because he came back, faster. But yes, it was one of those things. And the other thing, that I was thinking about, I'm like, my God, here I am, a teenager, and I'm socially oppressed because I cannot go anywhere. I couldn't go like, oh, I'm going to go to the Dodger game, or I'm going to go this. No, I had to be home. I couldn't go anywhere. And so my escape during that time was church, because with church, you would see all people, everybody. And then church had this, I would call them excursions, to go General Hospital to pray for the sick.
Yeah.
And so when I start thinking about where I started my career, because I truly feel that my career as a nurse started there, because I remember going to the hospital and seeing that environment, because soon after that, I must have been 13 years old and going there praying for the sick. And I remember at 14, I said, I want to be a candy stripe. I want to be a volunteer at a hospital. So those were my ways of escaping the reality of I couldn't really go anywhere else. Those were my sanctuary in a way. So at 14, at 15 actually, so in high school, here I'm in high school. And by the way, I learned English in 3 months. I don't know how I did it. And I think it's part of it is because I'm like, I need to find a way to sound like I'm not, that I'm legal.
Right, yeah.
So I learned pretty quick, but I also like school a lot. So I really, that's the time that that what I would do basically when I was alone is just read and learn and all that. But so at 15, here I am in high school, and I took a class. At that point, it was that time it was called ROP, Regional Occupational Program, I think, and they would teach you how to be different, careers. Well, they had a certified nursing assistant class, and I jumped on it at 15. I was like, I'm going to take it, and I did it through the whole year. When I finished my sophomore year, I was a certified nursing assistant. And I went that summer, I told my mom, I'm gonna go look for a job.
Oh my
Here
God.
I am, okay, I'm 16. I'm not legal still, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna go into the newspaper and look for a job. I got a job in the lady in a nursing home. And the lady says to me, the director, I think she looks at me and she said, why do you want to work here? Who at 16 likes to work with older, the geriatric population, right? Not everybody.
No.
And that's truly when I felt like nursing was my calling, because I remember so vividly enjoying helping the older, generation or the older people there, brush their hair, even their dentures. Okay, at 16, I don't know, but anyways, so I can tell you, I true found my nursing for me has been a true calling, I can say. So I've been a nurse for over 30 years. I've done everything from bedside care. Right now, I'm the director for correctional health services, and it's been an exciting journey. I mean, 30 plus years, and I'm telling you how old I am by saying that, but but it's
age is only a number. Doesn't matter.
Yes, and so I'm also the co-founder of AYA,
Mhm.
And ella basically, well, ella is she in Spanish, and it's an acronym for Empowering Leadership in Latina Athletes.
Mhm. Yeah.
This nonprofit organization was founded by my daughter Lily and I,
Mhm.
and it's because we went through as my daughter was looking. She's a student athlete, and she wanted to pursue her. She wanted to play in college, basically. And so as we started going through her journey, we basically faced and we saw firsthand a lot of disparities in the athletic community for Latinas. Um, in her own teams, we saw young girls. We saw the disparities of where the people that had the funds or the money. It was a lot easier for them to afford all that because to be an athlete and as you get older, I know you start with the park and recs and then they go to the clubs and all that. That becomes really expensive. It doesn't matter what sport that you play, but it's expensive. My daughter, I can tell you, was an average of about for softball, it's about an average of $20,000 a year.
Oh
So
my God.
that alone can tell you that it's going to be very difficult for the person or the family that to afford that.
Right.
And so in our own experiences that we went through with my daughters, having to see some of her teammates having to fundraise money. I remember this one little girl, her family, they would call it Taco Tuesdays. And I thought initially it was, oh, maybe they have a business,
Right.
No, they would do it out of their home. They would sell it because that was what was going to help her daughter be able to afford the dues for, because there's dues, monthly dues, there's very expensive bats, very expensive uniforms, the showcases they have to go. And so we saw that too. We also saw we and one of her teammates, they wonder why she smelled like bleached when she would come to practice. And we later found out is that she was helping her mom. She was basically helping her mom clean houses so she could offset some of her dues as well.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that and then we saw the other spectrum too, right? And I'm not gonna say what color, but or what race, but girls at 16 driving Lexus to practice,
Right.
driving all these expensive cars, and the parents just freely with their checkbook, whatever you need for her to be seen and forever for all that. So we started seeing that. And so when my daughter got committed to Cornell, and I have to say it's been um, for us, we're so humble that she's there, and we wanted to give back to the community. And this is why we founded AYA, because we want to make sure we create opportunities, create resources for our young Latina players. Doesn't matter what sports. Yes, softball is what we know
Mhm.
because that's what I know. But we're also expanding to golf. We're expanding to soccer. We're doing all the stuff trying to help out right now. And just this week alone, we had an event where because of AYA, there's a camp in softball that's called Honor Roll. It is where all the high academic coaches go. Basically, all the Ivy Leagues, all the D3s that
Mhm.
are highly academic. The camp is $800 for 2 days for the girls to go. So Aya came into the picture, and we assisted 50 players, and they only had to pay $200.
Wow.
So it's a savings of $600 per player. So those are some of the things that the organization is doing. We're also looking to, so we individually have affected the lives of over 100 athletes that we have held hand to hand. This is in the softball community alone. Um, and also over 5,000 um, athletes that we have indirectly touched them in some way, whether it has been through donation of equipment, whether it has been through seminars, whether it has been through skills camp. We actually, AYA has helped Triple Crown Sports. They're working with that organization to put a international challenge, which means that there's some girls that are going to be seen by the softball organizations from Peru, Panama, because and then they can play for them as a junior in the junior league,
Yeah.
basically. Because my daughter was grateful to, and lucky to be able to, we gave her that opportunity as well. We were able to help her with that. She played for the 19U Puerto Rican national team. So imagine as a 17-year-old to be able to represent your parents' heritage is beautiful. And so right now in 2021 is when we started the first international challenge, and it was incredible. So right now over 40 girls have been able to be selected from those camps so they could go and play in Panama, in Colombia, and they're under 19U, under 19. So all those opportunities is what we're hoping to do. Again, we know that opportunities are tied to money, right? And they always say you have as many opportunities as whatever money you're willing to spend. So we know that as well. So I'm very passionate about ella. It's changing the life of my daughter, and my daughter wants to give back to the community, want to give back to Latinas. And I know we want to be able to level that playing field. We say that because when you look at numbers, and I'm all about numbers too because I work with data, and when you look at numbers, the NCAA, which is the National Collegiate Athletic Association, I also think of that, 6% of the athletes that play in college are Hispanic. 1% is women. So when you think about that, there's so much work to be done. So we need more representation from our Latino community, our Latino athletes. I know that there's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of times too, what happens, and this is where we go back to the support, because it's opportunities and support, right? We have the support is the parents. And it's not because we're Hispanics, it's just that we, especially with women, we hold women, our little girls like, oh no, mija, you can't go until you get married, because I remember my parents telling my sisters, you can't leave the house unless you're married. Yeah. Or, and so a lot of times that kind of bites them in the opposite way, because then they end up, right, getting pregnant because now they have to leave. Right. So, and we've sat, families say to their children, because I know it's not easy, well, you can't go that far away from school. Like you cannot go to the East Coast, and they're giving them a full ride or whatever scholarship, because we're like, no, we want to be together. And I get it. And that's one of the things my daughter told someone in an interview. She said, you have to embrace culture, but you cannot let culture define you. Mm-hmm. Because that's something that, and let me tell you, it was hard for me to let. My daughter's 3,000 miles away, and it's hard every time she has to leave because, we want to hold our babies. We want to have them there, but we also have to allow them to grow, and especially women. I think it's a lot easier for men, but Latinas, we need to say, mija, go do your thing, get your wings. And that's what we're trying to do is not only get to the parents as well and say, no, it's okay. Let them explore, let them go. It's something good because it's going to empower them. We're going to empower these young women to come back for the next generation and be really strong. Right. The higher education they have, the better their outcome is going to be in life. So all that. So it's all that stuff that, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because developing this little women leaders.
It shows. Oh my God, it totally shows. And I commend you for this because, I think you touch upon the fact of yes, let's embrace culture, but you can't let culture define you. And it's so true. In my programs, I teach about rewiring the limited cultural beliefs because they're so ingrained and indoctrinated in you. So it becomes a bit more challenging to break from it, especially when you have all the community telling you, oh, no, you're too young, or no, you can't leave. No, you got to abide by this and all that stuff. And it's so important for young girls out there, young women, that if you have a passion for sports, listen to your intuition, find the mentors, find these programs like ella to support you because you need the support, because you're probably going to be faced with a big challenge, right?
Yes.
Not only financially, but even more so just with your community, with your home, being faced with, parents that, are still, I mean, I guess, yes, you're so concerned about the safety of your children. I have a kid and I can't even, like, at this point in my life, I'm like, she's 10 years old, but I know that she needs to fly and spread her own wings and pave her own path. I can't keep her here. Like, if she wants to move away from us, when for camps or for school, yeah, we need to, as parents. It's our duty and our job to just let them. We already taught them, and we just kind of trust in faith that they make good decisions. Right?
Right, yes.
Yes, I love this. And so, how does one get involved with ella?
So you can reach out. Our webpage is basically www.eyasportsfoundation.org. You'll find everything there. Right now, one of the things that we're doing is, because like I told you earlier, we're venturing out to other sports. We're starting to, running. We were accepted as a nonprofit partner for the LA Marathon charity challenge. So we're gonna be having some people fundraise and run and walk and get healthy for next year. So we're looking for actually people that want to help us with that. And all that information is on our webpage. And on our webpage too is our email. So you can contact us through there. There's if you want to join the subscribers, is free. It's not, it's just we just get updates and we send you. You can also follow us on Instagram, and is ella_foundation. And we're on Twitter as well, ella foundation. And yeah, so you can contact us, and there's info at ella is basically the email, info at eyasportsfoundation.org. And yeah, we can, everything on that you need to know about the foundation is there on the website too.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I'll make sure that it gets posted on the show notes. So, love our conversation about ella, but I can't let you go without discussing the elephant in the room, shall we? Your job as someone who is a director at a men's central jail. So I want to dive deep in there, because when I met you and you told me about that, I was like, oh, how do you do it? Because Amiga, I mean, you have all the credentials behind you. You've got degrees. You have an MSN, you have an MHA, you have an RN, and you are also the director, clinical nursing director of correctional health services for Men's Central Jail. Okay, so Amigas, we're talking Men's Central Jail, like allegedly the worst of the worst, right? And so, of course, it just makes me believe, like, okay, you're a woman with all these men, so you must have a lot of stories. And I'm like so curious. Why did you decide to take this kind of job?
So, like I mentioned to you earlier, I've been a nurse over 30 years, and I found a passion for quality improvement about 5 years ago. And so I was working as a quality consultant for LACUSC, and then I was asked if I was interested in bringing quality to the jails of LA County. When I was asked that, I have to be honest with you, I've been in nursing, again, 30 some years, and I never thought that I would ever even step in a jail. I didn't think that I would be interested in that. But when they talked about improving and change and all that, because I do that all the time. I love that. I love change and improving processes. It kind of turned a little light in my head, and I thought, well, why not? And I've always believed that in order to succeed in life, you have to get out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. If you're too comfortable in a place, you're not going to grow. You're going to stay there. And so for me, I was like, wow, this is a very uncomfortable move. Very, very uncomfortable.
Oh, yes, I think many amigas out there would agree with you.
Yes, and so I decided. I said, okay, Patty, I'm gonna do this, because that's how it's been my life. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so I did that. And so when I first came here 4 years ago, I was the director of quality and I would oversee all the jails, but it was just quality within all the jails. But as of a year ago, I'm now basically the director for Men's Central Jail. And to be honest with you, it was something that I hesitated to take this job because number one, I didn't have jail nursing experience. I had all the experience that you can think of in the world of nursing, but not jail experience.
Mm.
And I didn't want to take this job. I was like, no, I don't think so.
There's
No, thank
actually
you.
like a certain way
Yes,
for,
it's very
oh,
different. It's very
oh,
different.
okay.
Yeah, it's not. And I tell people because not until you're here you really understand because it's not like a hospital and it's not like an ambulatory care center. It's not like a clinic. It's not like a hospital. It's not like anything. So it's very different. It's kind of like I always compare it to a school, but that they never go home. Like school nurses. Imagine having school nurses attend to children in a
It's the
school,
children. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then those children never go to school, never go home. They stay there.
They stay there. Yeah.
So anyway, so when yeah, I didn't really want to. I think I just was very, but then again, I went back to, there's a reason why this is being presented to me.
Mhm.
And there's a reason why I need to do this. And as dark as I think and thought it would be,
Mhm.
I felt like I needed to do this. It was, and I always said to myself, I'm not someone to run away from a challenge. This is a challenge. I'm going to see it as an opportunity
Mhm.
because that's basically how my whole life. I've been faced with challenges
Yeah.
and obstacles, and I've been able to see them as opportunities and then grow from there. So I thought, well, maybe this will be a stepping stone for something else. I don't know. So here I am. So let me, like, and I want to say this, um, like my mom used to say, put your big chonies on and go do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's what I did. I pulled my big chonies on and I tied it up and I'm like, okay, so here I am. So here I am a year later, year and a half almost. And it's been an amazing opportunity, I have to say. It's incredible. It's the largest jail in the country, almost 5,000 inmates, all men, different classifications, different everything. And one of the biggest challenges for me, because again, I know that we are inside a jail, so it's really hard to see people as, inmates. For me, they're patients. And
Mm.
so, the struggle of, yeah, you've done, I don't know what else you've done, I don't want to know, but right now you need healthcare. And so that's the struggle every day that I have, is trying to find a medium between, because I also have to work with 90% men, the sheriff. So trying to, and for them to try to hear it from a woman too, to tell you that in the executive level, well, I'm the only Latina, and I am, I think, one of two women. So they're used to working with men because it's men driven. I mean,
Right.
so they, hearing it from a woman a lot of times it's hard to swallow for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you get a lot of pushback
Oh yes,
because
all the time.
they probably think that they know better,
Mhm.
right? Wow. Oh my God. Okay. So this is going to get juicy for me because to me this is so fascinating. Okay. When you accepted this position, was there ever a time that you got scared in this position?
Oh yes, I have to tell you the first week that I walked through, because first of all, it's a long way to walk to my office. My office is literally inside the facility. So the first time I walked through it, it's just so cold and so dark. There's no windows. There's horrible Wi-Fi. um, and it's kind of like, how when you go to when you're in the homeless environment, like the homeless population,
Yeah.
how you walk through there and you feel it, right? You're already like, oh my God, it just affects you walking through there. That's how it feels here because, and I believe in energy and I believe in all that. Where there's a lot of negativities, a lot of darkness here. And
Yeah.
so walking through it, yeah, it was, yeah, I think the first few weeks that I walked through it, I would put my head down and just walk straight to my office. Because the other thing is that sometimes you don't know how to do it. Do you say good morning? Do you not say anything? Do you say this? What do you say? Do you look at them in the eyes? There's so many things. And but I've learned now. I walk in, I say hello to people. They say hello to me. I say hello. It's just a normal environment now. But yeah, I was really scared.
Oh my God. Jesus, if I were to walk through a very dark place, like just imagine like walking as a woman in a dark alley.
Yes.
Like that in itself is going to make like cause concern. You're going to be looking behind you, to the side, because you just don't know if someone's going to come after you. Yeah. Oh my God. But you've been able to move forward. And so you're working there. And so what do you find it when you're with these inmates? Is there like a particular health concern that they have? Like, is there more one kind of, let's say hypothetically speaking, like you see more men that are coming for men needs, meaning like there's this colonoscopy that needs to happen, or what kind of medical issues are they coming to see you with?
So, right now I would say it's pretty general. It's everything, anything and everything, from a little cut, from a little, laceration on the arm to something huge. And I think it has a lot to do with the population too, the population that we have, because the majority are, underserved communities where they come from. So they never had, maybe this is the first time they're seeing healthcare or have access to healthcare. So it's very, very sick population. And I think we're also seeing too, people are they're not dying, or they're prolonging, they're living longer because with these diseases, so now everybody's sick. There's a lot of mental health as well. So whatever's happening in the community, it's more here as well. I mean, it's almost the same as here. Through COVID, we did the same thing. It's like if we had a rising COVID outside, we would have a rising COVID in here. So yeah, so it's pretty similar to what's happening on the outside.
Oh, wow. That's interesting because I mean, if they're incarcerated, how does even COVID come in? Like if you start to think about it, like COVID is because you're interacting with different people, right? Different people. So if you're in a prison, you've been there, how do you get COVID?
So the first thing is, that's one of the first things that I learned when I came here, because I always thought prison and jail were the same thing. I'm like, prison, jail is the same thing. They're not. So jail basically is a place where people go to wait for trial.
Okay. Yeah.
So sometimes they come in and out because let's say they got into a fight with somebody on the weekend. They got here. They're here only for 2 to 3 days, and they let them go because their trial or whatever. Or somebody could be here for 10 years waiting for trial. Yeah. So prison is when they already have a trial, when they already been basically sentenced. Then they go to prison. That's like a home. Like that's where they're there for. They don't go anywhere. But here's a revolving door sometimes, and that's what happens. Especially after the holiday weekend.
Now I see. Well, yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Drunk driving.
They get into fights. Yeah.
Interesting. See, I learned something new every day.
No, I'm telling you, that was the first question I asked. What's the difference between jail and prison?
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it now.
Well, now I see why COVID is there. Yes. I mean, yeah, I can now. Okay. Well, that really clears up some stuff. So when someone comes in to see you, do you also take a peek into their criminal record? Is that a thing? No. You just see the person for who they are and their health. That's it.
Yes.
Period. Event of story. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Because, I would think, I don't know, just human nature, when you start to discover why they're there, that you like have these preconceived notions. I mean, I know I sometimes do, but it's really important to leave that behind and just
Yeah.
see the person for the person they are,
Yeah,
right?
we're not supposed to. It's a breach of confidentiality too, because there's the difference between, so like even custody is not allowed to know their medical side.
Mm,
Only they're, so it's kind of like they know why they're here, but they
mm,
don't know that they're sick.
yeah.
So it's, that's the confidentiality part that has to be. So yeah, we
I
don't.
think that's a great thing. It's kind of like the branches. We got the executive, we got the president, the executive, we got the legislature, the judicial branches. So it's kind of like separate.
Yes.
So that, okay, I get it totally. That's good. I'm glad that that does happen, and that you see the person for who they are, and they're sick, and that's the first thing that you see. So if you had, is there something that you would love to see a change in this profession?
I would like to see more resources being provided, because I say that like I used to work at LA County, LACUSC, which is like the old general hospital. And you see a lot of homeless, population there. You see underserved communities, but the biggest issue here is that we're working with the most vulnerable population, and vulnerable because they're incarcerated.
Mm,
Because a lot of times we might not be able to get to them, or they might not be able to let us know their needs. So we need more resources. We need to be able to have more, more staffing, more things that we can have to see them faster, or to be able to get to them. So
yeah.
yeah, I would say that.
Well, if anyone out there is listening to this, then we definitely need more nurses, obviously, more staff, more people willing to do those kinds of jobs. Because, I mean, when you say that you work in the in this sector, for this sector of society, it's not, people are not lining up to get those jobs, right? It's like,
No.
it's kind of like a, I don't know, men's central jail, like,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because energetically, as you said, it is very negative. And I know, as me, as someone who's an empath, I get that energy, and it's sometimes hard to sever it. And I could just imagine other individuals who have a kind heart, who want to do the work, but that probably stops them. Like, I don't know. But I really commend you. I'm so honored that you're here to talk to us about this, because it's a voice that, it's voiceless. You're here to voice there for them. And I mean, you're God's angel, really. You had that calling as a little girl to be a nurse, to get to where you are right now. And I'm really, really, really thankful for people like you who are servicing the community and making it better for all of us as well, with the nonprofit that you're doing as well as Ella. Oh my goodness, amiga, you got so much. Okay, before I let you go, I need your tips on how an amiga can handle her shit.
So the tips that I want to share is that there's two of them. So number one, you have to be able to build resilience. And by that, what I mean is tap into your strengths. You have to be able to work through obstacles, not see them as, oh, that's where I'm going to stop. It's like, how can I get around it? How can I go under it? How can I go over that? Learn from your experiences, because they're priceless. You have to set goals, because if you don't set goals, you're not going to get anywhere. I always say, people, you always say want to lose weight, but you don't say why, by how many pounds. Once you start doing that, then you're going to set your mind to do that. And also choose the response you're going to have with that, whatever came your way, because that is also very important. And then the other one is you have to develop mindset. And by that, I mean, understand, number one, that we're not perfect, that we're going to fail, not that we're going to fail. And that's the other thing I was going to say. Change the word fail into learn. We're going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to make sure that, what is it that we're learning. And reflection is so important, because I think when you start reflecting of where you've been, where you're going, what you're doing, it puts that, that things in such great, perspective. Um, and also value the process of what you're going through. Because a lot of times we get so, and I used to do it with my daughter all the time when she was going through her, athletic journey. And even now I tell her, enjoy that process that you're going through right now. Because you want to, oh yeah, you want to do this, you want to do that, and you want to get there. But then once you get there, then that's it. You wasted your time, not wasted your time, but you didn't really enjoy that. You didn't value that process. And yeah, and always see challenges as opportunities. Because Charlie, I'm telling you, I did not want to do this job. And I'm like, I know this is preparing me for something not better, but maybe something bigger that I can do in life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you work in the, what is it? The Department of Health for a nation,
Right. Oh,
right? I mean,
yeah.
you're paving the way, and you're mentioning before that there aren't that many Latinas in these kinds of positions.
No.
So commendable. Thank you so much for being here. I love what you're saying. Build resiliency, tap into your strengths. It's all about mindset, and we're not perfect. Yeah, we're not perfect, but we get to pave the way
Mhm.
where we want to go. And so for that, I'm like, kudos to you. Thank you so much for being here on Amiga Handle Your Shit. Cause I mean, this is fascinating stuff. And amigas out there are gonna love this interview. Thank you so much, Patty, for being here at Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for having me.